Very special good evening to all of you. And today we have a next session with our international guest speaker and expert. She is Maria from Nigeria. Ma'am has a vast experience in field of substance use prevention and treatment. She is the CEO of the Shelter Youth and Community Network, a capacity building research and health promotion organization, which is working very good for humanity in various ways. When we talk about academic background, she is a former National Drug Law Enforcement Officer with over 25 years of experience in law enforcement and drug demand reduction. She is a consultant and master trainer for United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, Nigeria, and Colombo Plan, that is known as DAP Asia. She is a trainer of trainers for these international organizations and a member of International Society for Substance Use Prevention and other professional institutions and organizations. Today, she is going to enlighten us on a very important topic, that is lifestyle management for substance users. So, ma'am, thank you so much for providing your valuable time. I think now we should start our today's important session. And if anyone has any queries from this Zoom or either on YouTube, they can just comment in the comment section, or at the last, they can also ask directly to our guest speaker, ma'am. So, thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, we should start.
Thank you, Riyadh. Thank you, everyone who has joined us via Zoom and those who are watching us live. So today we want to talk about lifestyle management for people who use substances. Oftentimes, we think that people who use substances should be kept in one place. Their life should come to a stop until they have totally stopped using substances. No, people who use substances can actually lead a life, because in some cases, the goal of treatment, substance use treatment, is not necessarily abstinence. However, it is functionality. So we want to look at how this special group of people can live their lives despite the challenges they're facing. So it's not always that we have to wait till until after abstinence or until after this person has left treatment. No, it doesn't have to always be that. So what can we do, or in what ways can we guide people who use substances so that they can have a very fulfilling life? So it's going to be very interactive. Please send in your comments. I'm going to be asking some questions along the line. Ensure that you're an active part of this community. So let's go ahead. So I have already been introduced. So we are looking at lifestyle management for substance users. So we first talk about stress management. Some of the things that substance users face is stress. Even people who do not use substances are stressed. So stress is a normal part of life, isn't it? So we will look at how we can manage stress. First, I want to ask, what is stress? What comes to your mind when we talk about stress? What do you think stress is? Who wants to share? Either in the chat box or you want to unmute and speak, and I think that maybe Samyak or myself, we can read the comments. So I'll just give us a moment to tell us what comes to your mind when it comes to stress. Could be one word, could be two words, could be a sentence. What is it that you think of when you hear the word stress? What comes to your mind? Do you have answers yet?
No, not yet, ma'am.
Okay.
I will read out as I got it.
Okay. Thank you. So when we talk about stress, we are talking about the way the brain responds to a demanding situation. And you know that with substance users, people who use psychoactive substances acts on the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. So stress also affects the total body, and it's the way the brain responds to a demanding situation. One way to define stress. And like I said earlier, stress is part of life. It's normal. It's inevitable. There is no human being that will not go through stress. Yes, getting up in the morning, get into your car, thinking of what to do at work. And for some people, it could even be that probably they are going to work in a means of transport that they are not so comfortable with, or probably knowing they want to go and face some work they had not finished. Okay, thank you, Chibuzo. It says, you say stress is work too much on the body, intrinsic energy needed to function. Thank you, that's a positive. All right, so it's a normal and inevitable part of life. So, however, when stress is chronic, when stress is very serious, when it's extreme, it can be physical and mental well-being. So it's good for stress to be at a bearable proportion, but when it's extreme, then it becomes bad. And then stress, strong correlation with initiation, maintenance, and relapse of substance use. That's another factor. So there is a relationship between stress and initiation and maintenance and relapse of substance use. So for some people, stress can lead them to initiating substance use. For some people, because of constant stress, they cannot stay away from substance use. And because of stress, some people also go back to taking substances because their stress levels was not properly managed. So let's look at stress and drug use. Is there a relationship? Yes, there is a relationship. Stress can actually lead to drug use, and then drug use can also bring more stress. Okay, I think there's another thing in the chart. Yes, Dr. Wale says the outcome of lots of activities that stretches the body physically and mentally. Thank you, Dr. Again. This is stress also. Activities, especially lots of them, that stretches the body physically or mentally. So let's look at chronic stress. Chronic stress can occur at different levels, at the professional level, at the personal level, and then sometimes our daily hustles, or hassles, it's called in Nigeria, we call it hustles. Okay, so at the professional level, stress could come because there are deadlines to be met, there are competitions, and sometimes someone needs to manage workplace relationship, which sometimes might be difficult, and then not also being able to find a job on the professional level. So a person has all these qualifications, a person has all these abilities, yet is not able to find work. That could also lead to stress. Then also on the personal level, managing multiple roles. So especially for adults normally take on many roles. So an adult can be a father, it can be a husband, it can be a teacher, yes, or it can work in an organization. It's supposed to provide, and many other things. So could actually stress some people out. And so you can also have stress at the personal level arising from conflicts at home, issues at home, issues in marriage, divorce, childbirth, loss of any kind. So these are issues that lead to stress. And then daily hazards like traveling or congested living spaces or noises. So this happens to everyone, whether they are using substances or not. But right now we are looking at people who use substances. So these could actually contribute to chronic stress for some people. So for instance, some people traveling on his own, some people get sick because of traveling. So they have, they throw up because they are traveling, they feel palpitations, yes. And some people, whether it be road travel, some people is even worse when there is air travel. Some people have fear for heights, and so they can barely cope, yes. And then sometimes too, when the living conditions are such that there are so many people living in the same space or living in the same area, this also can lead to stress. So let's have an activity now. So we're going to be talking about examples of physical, mental, and behavioral signs of stress. So which of these would you want to talk about? You could put your answer in the chat box, or you could unmute and speak. What's an example of physical stress? What's an example of mental stress? And what's an example of behavioral signs of stress? All right. So just give us a moment to get this done. Okay, does anyone care to share an example of any of these kinds of stress or stressors?
Viewer from YouTube is saying that sweating is a symptom of physical kind of stress. It is right.
Stress, sweating, yes, sweating. Some people sweat on their palms. Thank you. Some people sweat on their palms or other parts of their body, especially when they are stressed. Thank you for sharing. Any other contributions? Okay, so let's go ahead. As people, okay, so I think there is something in the chat. Okay, so Chibuzo SN says behavioral stress signs can be body pain and fatigue. Behavioral stress signs. Okay, I would actually be attributing that to physical signs. Okay, fatigue, yes, fatigue is behavioral. Because it's something that you can't even see, you know, you can't see it, but you know, you are not feeling your optimal. You're not feeling so well, you know, you're just feeling tired and worn out. Thank you, Chibuzo, for sharing that. Okay, so Dr. Walaige says physical could be weakness, fatigue also, yes. So I also thought that fatigue was also, yes, so it could go both ways. Mental could be sleeplessness, behavioral could be irritability. Thank you, Dr. Ige, for sharing. So we're also going to see some that we have here. So this list is not exhaustive, yes. So changes in appetite or sleep patterns. Yes, I think Dr. Ige mentioned the sleep aspect of it, sleeplessness. Unexplained pains and aches. Yes, Chibuzo talked about this. Sweating. I think that's a comment you read from the YouTube. Yes. Sweating, cold and clammy hands, frequent urination. Some people, when they are stressed, they go to the restroom often. Heartburn could also be another example. Nausea, that's the feeling of throwing up. stomach pain, dry mouth, and difficulty swallowing, low energy, yes, which we could also consider as fatigue, and then frequent colds and infection. Can you imagine? Some people, when they keep having colds repeatedly, infections, that could be a sign of stress. And then we have the last but not the least, which is loss of sexual desire, a sign of stress. So let's look at other components. We have the psychological or mental stress signs. These, one of them is becoming easily frustrated. You're easily frustrated. That shows, when that happens, it shows that someone is under stress, mental stress. Mood swings, feeling overwhelmed, having difficulty relaxing, feeling bad about oneself, for instance, low self-esteem, or feeling lonely and worthless and depressed. Then increase in craving, constant worrying, forgetfulness, being pessimistic. So, like I said earlier, we are looking at the lifestyle management for people who use substances. It's important for us to understand, and even for those who understand who use substances, to understand that stress can come in these forms. I mean, for us, those of us who are not using substances, or who have been in treatment and are now in recovery, we still feel the signs. So it shouldn't be surprising when we see people who use substances, exhibiting these signs of stress. It's important for us and for them to have this understanding so that they'll be able to tackle it. So a behavioral sign of stress, some of them include difficulty concentrating in tasks, procrastination, that's saying I'm going to do something and then the person doesn't get it done, and then keeps shifting dates to get those things done. Avoiding other people, restarting or increasing the use of a substance, or exhibiting more nervousness or more nervous behaviors, such as fidgeting, biting, and then pacing. So those are behavioral signs of stress. Are there any other signs that you would want to add? Are there any other signs of stress that you think we may have omitted? Remember, I said that when we started, I said that this list is not exhaustive. Or are there other signs of stress that you have seen people who use substances exhibit that we have not captured on the slide? Please, you could unmute and say those signs, or you could type them in the chat box. We'll constantly look at the chat box to see if you have made or left any. All right. So Samyak, I don't know if you have any contributions from the YouTube. Do you have any you want to read for us?
Not yet, but I will read.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's move ahead. So how do we manage stress? So some methods of stress management have been given here. They are not exhaustive, but these are the possible stress management techniques that would help people who use substances, and I dare say would also help us as well. Relaxation or meditation, managing physical health. Some people's physical health are in such a condition that they don't just have to leave it to chances. Yes, they have to make a conscious effort to stay healthy. Yes, and time management is key in stress management, because if we are not able to properly manage our time, if people who use substances are not able to properly manage their time, it's going to affect other aspects of their lives. And then expressing one's emotions appropriately. So managing one's stress also connotes that even when we feel some type of emotions, we don't just go with the flow. So I feel like screaming and I begin to scream. No, we need to manage our emotions and express them appropriately. Yes, we need to be civil, yes, and assertive at the same time, yes. All right, and then we could also reframe the situation, help our clients to also reframe their situation, the situation that they are in. So if there is a situation that is not pleasant, we could always ask the clients to how about looking at it in this other way? Or what if it didn't happen like this? Something worse could have happened. So this is just to help the person manage the situation. There's something that we do, we say, it could have been worse, but thank God it's not. It's this way. And then learning the skill to say no. This is an effective stress management, because either it's for our clients or for us, there will always be things that will require our attention, issues to attend to, temptations to try out the substance we had said we're not trying out before, or going to some places that could trigger or could be a temptation or could increase cravings, for substances. And then lifestyle changes. This is very important. Someone who is using substances, who's coming in for treatment, should be able to look at his or her present lifestyle and make changes so that those changes will, help him or help her in the process of treatment and recovery. So relaxation involves meditation, deep breathing, and yoga. And if I may ask, which of these do you like the most? Or which of these have you tried out? Have you tried meditation? Have you tried deep breathing? Have you tried yoga? Have you practiced it? Have you asked suggested it to your clients? Or which of them do you think they love the most? Yes. So any of this is a good form of relaxation: meditation, deep breathing, and yoga. But of course, you need to know that there are some people who are not very open to some of these methods. Yes, Samyak says he loves yoga. That's nice, Samyak. So I've actually met with people that say yoga, no, count me out. I don't know what that means. I don't want to travel to another world. So, but of course, these are options that are open to our clients. And of course, at the end of the day, they are the ones that will make the decisions themselves on which of these methods to choose. So managing physical health, like I said, some of us really need to help our clients to take practical steps, make conscious efforts, maintain physical health. This could be in the form of exercise, eating right, and adequate sleep. So in this era where there is the internet, smartphones, gadgets, people tend to spend more time than they ought to on these gadgets. And that could also, in a way, affect exercise, affects adequate sleep. So it's good to have that balance. And this is going to be deliberate. Yes. So for people who use substances, it's important that they exercise, that they eat right. Yes. Eat more of natural things. Yes. And take out things that are processed, things that are heavily processed from their menu. Yes. So adequate sleep cannot be overemphasized. It's important to have adequate sleep. 8 hours, some people have said, some people 7 hours. So this depends on what is suitable for the client. So time management is very important in the scheme of things. Often from my experience with people who use substances, I have noticed that many of them normally do not have a to-do list, a list of things. They do not plan their day. Yes. So helping to plan one's day, like I give this as an exercise. Okay, I'd like you to plan your day from the time you wake up from 6 a.m. So I'll ask you, what time do you sleep? So some will say 9, some will say 10, some will say 11. I said, okay, plan your day from that time you wake up till when you go to bed. And then the first few days is normally very difficult, especially if this person has never been used to that. And so this planning is very important. And so especially people who are outpatients, those who are not in a residential treatment setting, those who just come and go, this is very important, so that they can account for every hour and how those hours are spent. And then I jokingly used to ask, after the whole planning is done, I said, okay, I didn't see any time for drug taking here. And so that normally makes us to laugh. So plan this, and this is not part of it. So please, when you have these cravings, make sure you call me or you call someone that, we would have agreed that this would be this person's support system. So it's also important for people in substance use to plan their days in advance, divide their tasks. So to know what is important and urgent, to know what is important but not urgent, to know what is urgent but not important, to also know what is not important and not urgent. We'll talk more about this in next slide. So because everyone has 24 hours, no one has more than 24 hours, but sometimes it seems there are some days, even, for us who are therapists, counselors, clinicians, there are some days that look like, no, this 24 hours is actually like 2 hours, 40 minutes. So, important, planning is very important for us and even our clients. So we look at time management. These are the 4 key things. What is important and urgent? What is urgent but not important? What is important but not urgent? What is not important and not urgent? So for this is especially, we should always make this to come to the bottom of everything we do. What is not important, what is not urgent, should not take up the space of what is important and what is urgent. So we need to determine, because all our activities can be classified. Yes, researchers have said that all activities can be classified into these 4 broad topics. So what is important? This is important. This is something I have to do now. And this is very, very urgent. It must be done now. Okay, then you also have, oh, this thing is important. So I can as well ask someone else to do it for me. So this is important, but this is not urgent. Well, it's important. I can schedule it and do it at another time. Then for what is important but not urgent, I can look at it also later, but I should never allow that to come in between what is important, or to come before what is important and what is urgent. And one of the ways we can actually determine this is to take a biro and a paper and actually write down the things that need to be done in a day. So when that is done, things that need to be done in a day, things that need to be done within this week, things that needs to be done in 2 weeks' time, in 1 month's time. So that way, that time is apportioned. So this is a skill that we can teach people who use substances, and this also helps them to set their priorities right. All right, thank you. Okay, there is something in the chat box. Frank says, could you please share your sleeps? Thank you for the great work. Sleeps, I don't know if you mean slides by sleeps. Yes, I can share my slides. Why not? Why not? So maybe you could send your email in the chat box so I could do this for you after this session. Thank you. All right. So how do we manage stress? We talked about expressing our emotions, isn't it? Everyone has emotions. Don't even mind those that look so prim and proper. Also, those who are just on their own, say, this person who does not, I can't read this person. No, everyone has emotions. Everyone has emotions. And then it is encouraged We are encouraged to share our emotions, to express our emotions. However, we should do this at the right time, to the right person, and to the right degree, that is in the right amount. So we look at some emotions here. So we have happy, we have excited, we have scared, we have angry, and we have sad. All right, let's look at happy. So what emotions qualify happy? When one is fulfilled, when one is contented, when one is glad, when one is complete, satisfied, optimistic, and pleased. And so a person is happy. So what connotes excited? When the person is ecstatic, energetic, aroused, bouncy, nervous, pecky. Okay, so someone could actually be nervous and excited at the same time. Yes. So for instance, the person is waiting to maybe someone who is using substances, is undergoing treatment, and is waiting to get a test result after a while of abstinence, probably to know the extent of the substance or whether he or she has been completely detoxified. So looking back, oh, I have abstained. I think I've done a good work. And so let me see, oh, what's my result going to be? So there's that's, edgy feeling, yes. And of course, if it's okay, if it's what the person wants, then of course, that person will be happy. So let's look at the chat box. So in the chat box, Sabiak says, some intellectuals say stress is good. How we should understand it? Okay, how should we understand it? All right, okay, I'll come to that. I'm trying to take a picture of the email. Yes. Okay, thank you. Because I'm not using my phone, I would have just screenshot it, but I'm taking that picture. Thank you. All right. So Samyak is saying that some professionals say that stress is good. Yes, a little bit of stress is good, because there is really no how you pass through life without stress. So you just have to accept it. Yes, that some stress is good. Like going to work, it takes something from you, isn't it? Yes, preparing for an exam. This is important. You would not say, oh, because this is difficult, I'm not going to do it. Yes, it's part of what helps us to be resilient. So on that aspect, stress is good. But remember when we started, we also talked about chronic stress. Chronic stress is a no-no. And so we have to identify what chronic stress is and then work on it. Okay, so these other feelings are there when someone is sad. You could be saying the person is down, is blue, is mopey, is grieved, dejected, depressed, heartbroken. And sometimes from sadness, when it keeps going, or someone keeps being sad continually, it's something that should be checked. Yes, the person should be an expert. The person should have an audience with an expert in mental health. So, how do we reframe the situation when we want to manage stress? So one thing that is recommended is positive thinking. So we help our clients to look at this particular situation in a positive way, to think of it in a positive way. And some of the things that should be said is, I will come out of it. I know I'll come out of this. This could have been worse. So you see the phrases or the sentences that connote positivity. And then rethinking could be, what would I say to someone in this situation? If someone were to be in this situation, what would I say to the person? What piece of advice would I have given to the person? Okay, let me see that piece of advice. So sometimes this happens a lot in my client. You see someone is angry over something, and other people come to the person and say, just let it go, just let it go. Just let it go, just be the bigger person, you know. So sometimes you could think, okay, what if I were to give someone an advice on this issue? I mean, if it's not life-threatening, if it's not something that you can't handle, so we need to let some things go. And truly, there are so many things we cannot control. We cannot keep reacting to everything, every little thing. Then solving would be another way of reframing the situation. So this could be like finding a solution to the situation. What can I do about it? What can I do about it? So helping people who use substances to think in this way can be very helpful. What can I do about these constant lapses that I, okay, it's because I've been passing through a certain part of the town. Okay, what can I do about that? Could there be an alternative route? Things like that. And then also lifestyle changes is very important. So how do we make lifestyle changes, or what does it mean when we say people who use substances should make lifestyle changes? It means looking at what is enjoyable and what has to be done, and creating a balance. Creating a balance. So let me give an example of someone who wants to lose weight, and then this could mean getting up in the morning, depending on how the person's day is planned, to do some exercises. But sometimes that at those times where people want to do exercises, that's when the sleep is the sweetest. So it could be like, oh, do I need to change my gear of sleep, or do I need to go out there and hit the road? So that's there should be a balance. So if we want to make changes in weight loss or health, in our health, and then we keep taking the part of enjoyment, then enjoyment in quotes, then there will be a balance. So lifestyle changes could also mean spending more time with family instead of spending time with persons who would actually encourage us or trigger us to use substances. Relooking at priorities. What's important to me? Well, okay, because priorities change. So today, this might be the most important thing. Tomorrow, that might change. And it is our duty to work with the clients, in line with their priorities, to guide them. Okay, so learning new skills. Remember, when working with them for priorities, I need to put this out, that is really not about us. Yes, it's about them. All we have to do is to guide them, show them the different options, and ask them to think about the implications of each of those options. Yes, they're learning new skills. What else can I do in place of idleness or any other thing that I have been doing to ensure that I do not continue, using substances? Staying away from negative people or drug using people. A lifestyle change where that people who are undergoing substance use treatment should be taught. Yes, and then developing positive addictions. I like to get our thoughts of positive addictions. What are addictions that are positive? And then managing stress effectively. Of course, all these things that we are talking about will help us to manage stress effectively. So I like to have comments in the chat box about what you think positive addictions are. So people who use substances also need to manage their finances. So a lot of people have said that it is when I have money that I think of using substances. When I don't have money, I don't think of using substances. Yes, but for how long will someone stay without having money or resources? So we need to know how to, help our clients to manage resources. So people who use drugs face financial difficulties. For some of them, it's either low income or no source of income at all. Some have no savings. Some earn money, but they spend it on drug use. And some have a lot of debts to pay, sustain drug use. They have borrowed money or borrowed items, which sometimes they would have sold just to be able to use substances. So these are issues that need to be tackled. Of course, This will also be in the treatment plan on how these issues will be overcome. So financial difficulties can lead to stress, and stress can be a trigger for a lapse or relapse. So someone who is using substances, if feels that, oh, some people are coming after me for money, some people are coming after me for the things I have borrowed, and then generally because I don't have money, I feel terrible. So this could lead to stress that could trigger someone going back to use substances for the first time, or even continuing the use of those substances on a daily basis. All right. So Chibuzo, thank you for giving us an example of positive addictions. I'm still waiting for our other positive addictions include reading a book that will impact one's life, learning a new, good, challenging skill, and planning relaxation when necessary. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chibuzo. You captured a lot of things there. Yes, you did capture a lot of things in positive addiction. So please keep your comments coming. What do you think is a positive addiction? So we are moving from drug addiction, and we are saying, what are the alternatives? And then we're saying we should now have positive addictions. All right. So we're still on financial matters, how to manage finances. How can people who use substances manage finances? Do this by making a budget and then making a spending diary. So here they write down all they've done with money daily on a daily basis. And then at the end of the week, they look at it together. Some might do that at the middle of the week. So this really shows them, oh, okay, what have I really been spending my money on? Was this worth it? Or what could I have done differently? What is it that I bought that I was not really necessary, was not important, was not urgent? And then not using credit cards, or in our client, we call it ATM cards. So some people, this would help them if you don't have credit cards. They're like, oh, the time that I would I would need to buy this thing with physical cash, because I don't have physical cash. So and that would be a form of restriction. And then for those who use debit cards, ATM cards, there are actually people who have said, I don't want an ATM card, I don't want a debit card, just I'll come to the bank when it's necessary. And then also I would like to add, in modern days, maybe not having a bank app. There is these applications on our phones that all the information about our bank is there, a particular bank, or we can easily do transactions and all of that. So for me, I restricted it to one app. So that I don't have to, yes, before I spend, I have to think, yes, because once that app is on you, anyone that calls somebody, you just, let me do this, let me send to this person. So for people who use substances, they have to consciously take, consciously work towards, not spending more than they ought to spend, and then putting money aside for paying loans or investment. So if this person is working, it's important for the person to know that you can't spend all of your paycheck. No, you need to keep some to begin to service those debts, yes, or keep some to make some investments. Then appointing someone to take care of their finances. So for instance, the person can have an accountability partner, someone who handles maybe his debit or credit cards. So you're going to be the one holding my money for now until that time that I know that I'm good enough, to handle my business, my financial business. But it has to be someone who is trustworthy, so that when it's time that this person actually has a need, the person will not be told, oh, I'm sorry, I used the money for this, I used the money for that. I didn't know where that you will be needing it so quickly. Another thing could be opening a bank account and getting money deposited there. Yes, instead of keeping the money at home or keeping the money with the person. If the person is, for instance, in an in-person, inpatient treatment center. Sorry, I'm saying in person. I'm used to saying in person now because of online training. So actually, if the person is in a residential treatment center, but if it could actually, the center can help the person to get open an account and get the person's money deposited. If the person is an outpatient client, then the person can also do same. Yes, can also open an account and put the money there, and then take measures not to spend any. So to convert, in summary, COVID antecedents like lifestyle imbalance pave way for relapse and lapse. So certain things that are not so glaring, certain things that we may not even have considered, that they are not so open like that. That's what this means. Like when there is an imbalance in your lifestyle, these are things that can actually trigger a lapse or a relapse. A lapse is that first time that someone who's using, who had been using substances, had gone into treatment or has stopped using on his own, goes back to using. So that's just that first time after a period of abstinence is called the lapse. Then the relapse is after that time, after the lapse, if the person keeps using and using, then we can say that that's a relapse. Then lifestyle changes in keeping a person psychologically and physically healthy. Yes, stress management is an integral part of managing lifestyle imbalances. So this is all we've been saying since we started, that when there are lifestyle changes, a person who is using substances can actually lead a healthy life cognitively and physically. And then stress management, which is a topic that we have been discussing, is a part and parcel of managing life imbalances. Thank you so much. Are there any questions, contributions, comments? I want to specifically appreciate everyone who has been contributing. Yes, especially Dr. Ige and Chibuzo Essien. Okay, and Olori Lydia Ajayi, thank you so much. Olori, I have your email. I have Chibuzo's email also. Okay, so Dr. Ige says, helping others, engaging in humanitarian activities, example, joining social philanthropic organizations, calling and encouraging vulnerable or disadvantaged people. Yes, thank you so much. This could be positive. However, when it comes to the social cultural groups, we also have to be careful, especially if those groups are very well accepting of substance use, so that that might not be a trigger. There are some social cultural groups that when you get into part and parcel of their activities involve some substances, some legal substances. So if that's a trigger for you, you may want to be careful. Thank you so much. Samyak?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a wonderful session. And before moving the question and answer, I have some questions from my side. First one is, please tell me more about your NGO, your initiative, what service it is providing, and how someone can access through it, any link or something like that. So kindly give a brief about the Shelter NGO.
Okay, thank you so much. The Shelter NGO, the Shelter Network, the Shelter Youth and Community Network, it's the same thing. We are a local NGO in Nigeria. Yes. We are into trainings, evidence-based trainings, research, interventions, consultancy. That's what we do in the area of substance use. Yes. That's not our only area, but presently, this is what we are doing. Yes, we hope to expand to other areas. We've been involved in interventions in schools, in faith-based organizations. We've also been involved in trainings for people from all walks of life. Yes, so that's basically what we can do. That is basically what we do. So if you want to contact us, you can contact us via mail. Yes, and if the question is coming from your end, you can give them our email, or I could type it in the chat box. Yes, so that anyone that wants to reach out to us can reach out to us at any point in time. So I'll just type, this is the email. It's the shelter D, the shelter NGO, gmail.com. Okay, so yes, that's it.
So anyone from this Zoom audience has any question, they can unmute themselves, their audio and video, and
yes,
can
please, if you
ask,
have questions, if you have
can ask directly.
suggestions, yes,
Yes.
experiences you want to share, please go ahead.
Anything they want to share, you are welcome. One by one, you can share. Kindly unmute your mic or just raise your hand, so I will help you technically. So you can share one by one.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on the use of meditation, applying meditation to stress management, someone who is under influence, can such a person sufficiently concentrate and meditate?
Okay.
Did you hear me?
I heard part of your question. Maybe you could repeat it, sir.
Okay. Now I just want to, I'm just a little bit curious that someone who is under influence, someone who is under influence, can the person concentrate?
Okay.
And
I heard that.
Meditate. All right.
I heard that.
Then the other one is the other one has to do with taking adequate sleep. Yes, sleep does help, quite all right. But for people who are already inducing their sleep by using sleeping pills, and you want to get them out of it, would adequate sleep also be what one would recommend? Just those two small questions.
Okay. So is there anyone who wants to attempt any of those questions? Anyone wants to make a contribution? Dr. Ige is asking about people who are already under the influence of substances. How can we get them to meditate? Please, if you want to say something, you can unmute or you can raise your hand. Who wants to share?
Hello. Hi, Maria, and everybody. Sorry.
Hi.
It is, I've missed it. I'm in Abuja in the hospital with my just connecting, and I feel bad that I missed the whole thing.
So sorry, ma'am.
It's well.
Yes.
It is well.
Yeah,
I hope to get something out of this thing.
Okay, so you want to?
I didn't get anything. I joined when you were calling for questions. I've not got anything at all. I hope to get.
I'm sorry about that. Answers. Yes. Okay. So I think this is what I'll do. When we conclude our ongoing online training, I think we should be having sessions like this that will talk about so many things. It's always been on my mind. Yes. But now, yes, all right. Okay, so Dr. Ige was asking about people who use substances, who are under the influence, and how can we get them to do meditation? So I'd like to first of all say that not everyone who is using substances is actually intoxicated at every point in time. No. So then how do we get someone who is under the influence to meditate? So I don't think it is necessary to get someone who is already under the influence of a substance to do meditation. Someone who is even under the influence of a substance should not even be engaged in counseling. We should allow for the person to be detoxified, for the person to be sober before we even engage in a conversation. Even if you have a relative who is using substances, talking to the person or trying to engage the person when he or she is high or is under the influence will be an effort in futility. Yes, but there will always be a time when that person will be sober. Then we can engage the person. And then because is basically voluntary. If the person still decides, I don't want to be engaged in meditation, then it's our work to explain to the person the benefits and to also give the person other options that, okay, how about exercise? How about yoga? Or one other thing? Or what do you yourself think you can do to help you meditate or to help you relax or to help take away stress from you? Because we believe that there is a lot in the person who is passing through the challenge for the person to be able to find a solution to his issues. So our work is basically to get that person to that point when he's able to look inwards, look into the potentials in him, and then bring those out. Okay, so on the issue of adequate sleep, he says some people use sleeping tablets to sleep. And then do they still need to sleep to overcome that? So I would, okay, so sorry, please, before I go ahead, Chibuzo has written something, detoxification first and possible psychoeducation, more of establishing rapport, then others follow. Thank you so much, Chibuzo. This is just in line with what I said. Detoxification first, psychoeducation, you explain to the person some things, yes, before. And even at that, if the person says, I'm not doing it, it's not left for us to force the person. So, but doctor, I didn't get this prescribed, or is the person just using the medications by himself or by herself? Remember, even if medications are prescribed, that does not exempt someone from being dependent on those medications if they are not taken the way they are supposed to be taken. So for Doctor, do you want to say something? Do you want to make some clarifications before we continue?
Well, actually, in identifying substances of abuse, we all know there is a group of substances known as barbiturates, yes, or sedatives. Yes. So those are the ones I'm talking about.
Yes, and I'm asking, are they prescribed or the person is just using?
Most times, even when they are prescribed, you know, some get overboard. They keep using, yes, it whenever they have, yes, some, you know, some slight discomfort, yes, or it's not going high. You understand what I'm saying? Then the, yes, other one has to do with, you know, those who just go into it. For instance, I can comfortably say this. I know it's an open an open forum. In the North, you see that we have come across people who use, for instance, take for instance Valium. A young person will use up to 20 tablets of Valium, swallow at one time. And this is supposed to be a kind of corrective pill prescribed. So it's not prescribed, but they see in it, you know, substances that, you know, they could, you know, could do the reversal. You understand? So those are the kind of things I'm saying.
Okay. So someone who is having difficulty in sleeping and is abusing substances, the person needs therapy, the person needs treatment, the person may also need to see a doctor, because I know that even for people who are taking substances because these substances are prescribed, for some of them, a time comes when it's no longer working. So they'll be taking a tablet, yes, and the tablet worked. and then it's no longer working. That's not the time to increase the dosage by oneself. So this is a time to get back to the doctor to say, this is not working. Probably the doctor will be, or the pharmacist will be in the best position to say, okay, can we change to this other medication and see how you feel? And of course, that medication is still going to be monitored over time. Yes. But for those who are just taking it because this is what they are victims of substance use, I do not think that taking more will help them to sleep more. You know, what they need. There are exercises, there are natural remedies for sleeplessness, if only they'll be able to, if only they will agree to cooperate. Of course, it's not compulsory to try on such techniques. Thank you, sir. All right, so I want to read, yes, I want to quickly read what Chibuzo said. She said, take the person off the drugs before introduction of sleep options. Yes, it's just the same thing that we had been saying earlier on. So we look at the drug issue first, I mean, the intoxication first, yes, and then we look at other issues that sometimes are even more challenging than the person's substance use. All right, any other questions or contributions?
So anyone who joined us recently, they are also welcome to put their points or opinions regarding this or anything they want to say. They are welcome. Kindly unmute yourself.
All right.
Thank you. Is it me?
Yes.
If I got him right.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Did you say the person that came in?
No, he says if anyone wants to make a contribution, he or she can unmute.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
No, not the only thing, Maria, you know that I'm always interested in getting people, you know, all this, so they use us back and on the field, I know what I go through. That's why I'm really concerned that I didn't get to benefit from the meeting.
Okay, we'll have this session again. Yeah. We'll have this session again. It's a promise.
When?
It's a promise.
Okay. I love
yes.
it. Thank you. Okay. I'm waiting. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me add, this is also recorded on the YouTube, the whole session.
Okay, so, yes, the whole session is on YouTube. And I see you have posted it on I've seen you have posted on the group when you were one of our participants. So I think I'm going to take it to the other groups. Yes, we'll do that. But we'll also have the Nigerian version. Because yeah, there are some examples. Yes, there are some examples I would have loved to give, but I just know that maybe the Indian audience may not really relate, so I'm a bit restricted with my illustrations. All right, but that's still okay. That's okay. All right.
So Mr. Manzi, he's also doing great work in field of mental health in their country. So if you want to say something or add something, you can say.
Okay, Amanzi.
Thank you very much, Maria and everyone. Sanyak, I would just want to thank you for this session. It's been very educative. I followed partly, so I'll be getting the rest of the session from YouTube. But I want to thank you very much for your endeavors to see that we counter mental health challenges all over. I'm from Uganda, and I'm a team leader at Kaiser Psychology Center. It's great meeting you, Maria. I hope we can be in touch.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Manzi. I'm always excited to meet people from Uganda. I've been to Kampala twice. Yes, and I've been to your cultural center, and it was quite amazing. It just felt like Nigeria to me. Plenty of food and nice people. Thank you, Manzi.
All right, welcome.
All right. Okay.
So we have
Maybe we
also
can,
Mr. Dipankar. He's also doing great work in field of Vedic psychology. So if he wants to say something or adds his points, you are welcome. Kindly unmute yourself.
okay. Please go ahead. Before you speak, please a moment. Olori Lydia says, I'm sorry that I joined late. My attention is divided. I will watch later on YouTube and ask you any questions that may arise. Okay, thank you, Lydia. And thank you, Samia, for creating the YouTube link where we could always
Okay.
session. Thank you so much.
Audience will ask, I will just very fast read some comments, feedback from YouTube. People from India saying good evening, pranam to you for your session. And Richard asking, shall we get a version of the notes or the presentation? And also, NA is also saying thanks for the presentation. And Prince Mizo from Uganda is saying that I am proud of you, my lecturer. So these are few live comments on the YouTube. So you will also access later our full session on YouTube. So anyone else who wants to say something or wants to add something in today's session, you are welcome. Till, ma'am, I want to know more about, you have taken the UPC as a core course. So kindly give a brief about this course and what it includes, how it will benefit, to whom it will benefit. So kindly brief about UPC.
What's the question, please?
Question is about the UPC, Universal.
Okay. So, thank you. The Universal Prevention Curriculum, also known as the UPC for Substance Use Prevention, it's an international course that helps people in the field of substance use prevention to be equipped for the work that they have been doing. And for those who just want to start doing the work, it also equips them to start doing the work. So the UPC has 10 modules that tells us about the science of addiction, talks about prevention, what is evidence-based, what is not evidence-based. And one of the modules also is a United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes International Standards. So this gives the basis for prevention work. It is raised every that we need to know and take into consideration. Did you just mute me, or have I been audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Did you hear my explanation when I started talking about the UPC?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so the UPC can be taken online or in person, and why it's called universal is because whatever is being taught in one place is the same thing that is being taught in other places. So like I was telling Manzi, I'd been to Uganda. The reason why I went to Uganda was to teach the UPC to the national trainers in Uganda. So I taught them the core course, which is a foundational course, and the school tract. I have also taught UPC in Nigeria within our organization and for other education providers in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So I've taught UPC to the Asian audience. I've had people who participated from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from India, yes, and then also people from other African countries. So I've also taught UPC in Vienna, Austria. During the last ISOP conference, I was nominated to teach UPC, the school tract, yes, to an international audience. So it's the same thing. Why is it the same? It's because evidences that have been gathered for this work, for these studies, for these tracts have been evidences that have been gotten from all over the world with different populations, in different settings, and the results have been consistent. So whatever is not consistent is taken out, whatever is consistent is kept. And so this is a product of a research of over 30 years. And everyone who has ever had access to be a part of the UPC curriculum, UPC training has always had good reviews. And from the first day, you get to learn. Yes, and also share, yes, share, and we all will benefit from that. So that's basically the UPC. So you could get more information on it from ISOP. All right. So Chibuzo is saying thank you. Thank you to Chibuzo. You can get more information from ISOP. You could just go to Google and type www.issup.net. www.issup.net. That's ISOP. ISOP is a platform that gives you so much free information, free trainings, on issues that revolve around substance use. When you register on the platform and you submit your email, you always get a prompt, on activities, on happenings, new research work, and all. It's a very robust platform. You also get opportunities to travel. Some of us, through the advertisement or the announcement that was put on ISOP, we were able to know that you can apply to attend the conference. And so we applied, and some of us have been chosen, even some people that just newly came into the course, to doing the course, because when the advert came out, I shared it in all platforms, and at least one person, I don't know of others, has told me that, I have been chosen to go to Abu Dhabi next month. And it's free, yes. And this person, didn't want to apply initially. And I said, no, you have to apply. Said, I don't have this, I don't have. I said, no, just apply. Just apply. It could go either ways. Could it be a yes or a no? And we are glad it was a yes for him. So that's a nice experience. So apart from that, there are other things that you gain in terms of knowledge share, yes. And then if you're also having activities, you could post it on the ISOP website. You send it to where you can share knowledge, it will be approved, and then you see the post. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Umana, thank you. I didn't even know you were in the class. I hope you were Umama. Okay, Umama Mufti. All right.
Yes,
so
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I am listening. I am in the class. Thank you.
All right. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah. I am from MIT University, joining from Delhi, Noida, Uttar Pradesh.
Oh, from India.
India, yeah, from India. From India, madam. And you have a very sweet voice. And
from my country.
yeah, sure. Thank you, madam. I will visit, and you have a very nice voice and very smiling face too.
Thank you, ma'am. Please visit us. I hope to be in India one day. I have been to Sri Lanka, which I hear is close to India.
Yeah, very close to India.
Yes. I've also been to Bangkok, but maybe Thailand. Yes. So I've been to Colombo and Bangkok. So
do visit New Delhi also. Do visit New Delhi.
I will.
I will visit Uganda. Namaste. Thank you. Very nice voice and very motivational lecture.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you for coming. All right.
Thank you. I'll save your number. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We can communicate. That's my WhatsApp number. Anytime.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
All right. Okay. So, Samyak, can we call it a day?
Yes, thank you so much. Before concluding our today's session, what is your conclude message to the mental health professionals or the whole world on today's session? What is your conclude message for all of us?
Okay, so this is my message. People who use substances are human beings, first and foremost. People who use substances have a right to life, have a right to health, have a right to the good life. They have a right to work, and they have a right to come into treatment or therapy when they want to. So we should not wait till they have decided, oh, I'm going to stop using substances, I'm never going to go near it again, before we think them. So we should always be ready to help people who use substances and see that they live a functional life. They are reintegrated, into the society. We should take practical steps to stop stigma, to stop the name calling, to stop the judgments, when it comes to people who use substances. And then also, I'd like to say that we should take our mental health seriously. Yes, there are some things that trigger us, some things that stress us. And we hope that this presentation would have been able to, help us in one way or the other. But do not hesitate to seek the expertise of people who are in mental health, in the mental health field. Yes. So it's not something to be ashamed of if we don't feel the way we ought to feel, or if some things are bothering us. Let's talk about it. Let's see a therapist, let's see a counselor who would see what is within his or her purview, and then recommend or refer to whoever can help. So people who use substances should not be segregated against, they should not be despised, they should not be stigmatized. They are part and part of us. Are we going to throw them away just because they are using substances? People who use substances are not bad people. They are not evil people. They are not sinners. No, they are not. Yes. And we need to know that there's a difference between people who are victims of substance use versus people who already have a criminal mind. They want to do something bad. And so they take substances to embolden them. They take substances to give them that confidence to do what is criminal. Those are very different people. Those are not the people we're talking about. Well, they are actually people who use substances and they even want to stop. But because of the withdrawal symptoms, because of those feelings of uneasiness, those painful feelings, they feel, oh, I can't stop this. Some of them might not have money. Yes, they might say, oh, I could sell this book. I could sell this Bible. I could sell this phone, just to get help, just to get the substances. These are the people that we are talking about that actually need help. And then in some countries, you see that there are alternatives to incarceration where after being examined and evaluated, the authorities know that, oh, this is the only reason why this person was involved in this petty theft. So rehabilitation is important. Social reintegration is also important. So this is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At last, we have HOD of Department of Psychology from University of Patanjali in India. I would like to invite her, and she wants to say something to you. So, ma'am, you are welcome, Dr. Vaishali Gaur, ma'am. She is a little bit late, but
better late than never.
Om ji, am I audible, ma'am? Samyak, may
yes.
I?
Yes, Dr. Vash.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I want to convey my best cordial wishes for your nice presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, but I just want to know one question. Ma'am, how cognitive behavior therapy is useful for the reduction of substance abuse?
Okay. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a very useful therapy for people who use substances. So it helps to help them connect, realize that substance use also has to do with how they think about substances, the cognitive part of it. And it helps them to connect between the desire to use substances, the places that they visit, the cravings, rather, the places that they visit, the people that they see, what happens before, what happens during, and what happens after. And so in cognitive behavioral therapy, if, for instance, someone is thinking of having a craving and is thinking of using substances, if there is something that can be done to stop the person at that point of craving, then that person will not go ahead to use substances. So cognitive behavioral therapy says that most of those things happen in the head. And so they help to, in our thoughts, so they help to change the thought process through different methods. So this is cognitive behavioral therapy is very important. It's very important. It has worked